Was Robert E. Lee?
A son of a bitch, a motherfucker, a no good. Robert E. Lee was a no good, disgusting Confederate general. The end.
Statues of great historical figures, like Robert E. Lee, are being torn down across America.
Good.
Here are some facts about Lee that remind us why his statue should remain.
Nope.
Robert E. Lee was connected to George Washington through his
Who was also a slave-holding motherfucker.
Light Horse Harry Lee, Washington's cavalry commander, and his wife, Martha Washington's great-granddaughter.
Yeah. Fuck them
Lee's
all.
home at Arlington House was just 10 miles from Washington's Mount Vernon.
Don't give a
Today,
fuck.
it is
Don't give a
site
fuck about the proximity of Robert E. Lee's home to Washington Monument.
of Arlington National Cemetery.
Or the
30
Washington
years of
Cemetery.
military service,
Which again is a resting place for settler colonialists who did a little imperialism overseas, and then those who died fighting the Civil War or defending the right for white men to own slaves. So again, fuck them.
Lee led U.S. Marines to crush the attempted slave rebellion by radical abolitionist John Brown in October 1859. 21 co-conspirators had seized a federal armory, and all of them were killed or captured,
Good.
including John Brown, who
Cool.
was tried and hanged for treason.
Excellent.
Lee deemed slavery a moral and political evil in any country, but considered it a greater evil to the white man than to the black race, since blacks are immeasurably better off here than in Africa.
Okay, this is absolutely despicable. To suggest that we were somehow doing Africans a favor by shackling them, enslaving them, and bringing them over to the United States so that they could do free labor to build this fucking country is absolutely appalling. Okay, the justification that this person is trying to make to defend the right of enslaving Africans, bringing them over, and again, forcing them into indentured servitude to build this fucking country is absolutely despicable. The fact that this even holds any water today tells you how indoctrinated with bullshit this country truly is. Because let's be honest. After we forced them over to this country, and after they had to fight a civil war to gain their freedom, think about the new wave of racism that they have been subjected to since the ending of slavery. They've never been truly free of the oppression that they have been subjected to. Colonial capitalism. I can't believe we're doing this. Where was I?
Opposing secession, Lee foresaw no greater calamity for the country than a dissolution of the Union. But when Virginia seceded in a close vote, Lee resigned his commission. Despite offers to command Union forces, Lee opted to organize the defense of his native state. After 4 years as Confederate commander, Lee became an icon of reconciliation upon his surrender. As president of Virginia's Washington College, he favored education for freed slaves but opposed their right to vote.
Again, knowing all of this, knowing that Robert E. Lee eventually, after he lost the Civil War, he became an icon of reconciliation to, I don't know, save his legacy, but went so far to oppose their right to vote, tells you that this person was trying to find new ways of upholding institutionalized racism and keeping African Americans from achieving full rights, not only as citizens, but voters, to participate in our democracy. And again, knowing all of this, I still do not know for the life of me how people would want to commemorate this person. This is racism. This is an admission to a new wave of racism that Robert E. Lee was a part of to keep African Americans from having the opportunity to live as citizens in the way that white people were able to live. Specifically, not only with their right to vote or their opportunity to participate in our electoral process, but let's think about, it goes beyond the 3/5 compromise. Think about how they couldn't own land. They weren't even, those statues were erected by the daughters of the Confederacy, not the locals. Yeah. I am just trying to wrap around in my mind how anyone could feel confident or comfortable making this justification, knowing that Robert E. Lee was still a racist, as evidenced by his opinion on whether or not African Americans should have the right to vote or the opportunity to vote.
Lee died from a stroke in 1870 and
Good.
was buried beneath Lee Chapel in what's now Washington and Lee University.
We should
His
burn it down
legendary
in a video
warhorse
game.
Traveler rests in a plot nearby.
Honestly, this video didn't even do a good job defending this. Honestly, this did not. I wouldn't even go so far to say that this video was very good at propagandizing Robert E. Lee. I mean, is Prager Ew losing their touch? I hope so. I hope so, because they're not even doing a very good job with propagandizing their own talking points. That was it was just straight mask off racism. Yeah. Well, I can't help but wonder if I don't really watch a lot of Prager Ew videos, if this is typically the best that they can do. And if so, it's really embarrassing that people do fall victim to this kind of misinformation, because they're not even making very good points. I just thought that they did. I was just under the impression that they put a little bit more effort in trying to rewrite history to try to manipulate anybody who was willing to listen. I can't believe people fall for this kind of buffoonery. You can see they're trying to latch onto the idea of military service as being virtuous and noble. Also, the founding fathers stuff fascist love. That's true, by trying to, because I think most people give George Washington the pass. But still, it's weak, mid.